approach to the poisoned patient. So remember your doctor's ABCD. And then let's talk about how does the poisoned patient die. So, with various mechanisms, CNS depression, cardiovascular toxicity. So basically, poisons kill via CNS depression. So, pag na-depress ang CNS mo, central nervous system, breathing stops. Or the patient can also die with cardiovascular toxicity. Dito naman yung heart yung nagsastop. Okay? So, drugs suppress brainstem, leading to your respiratory depression. Okay? Kasi andun nga yung respiratory centers mo. Pag na-apektuhan yun, it can lead to apnea. Then, here naman, toxins disrupt heart rhythm or function, causing fatal arrhythmias or hypotension. Okay? So, bad. Sa CNS, bad. Breathing stops, airway loss, depression of CNS ang cause. Then, sa cardio naman, halt. Some mnemonics lang. Heart stops, or it can lead to arrhythmia, some lethal effects, and toxic effects. Okay? CNS depression, ang mga nagkakos niyan, maraming drugs, specifically those affecting your GABA receptors, or opioid receptors, such as yung sa narcotics mo. They can depress your CNS, leading to low or decreased respiratory drive and loss of airway protection. So cardiovascular naman, certain substances can directly affect the heart's electrical activity, leading to arrhythmias, or its pumping ability, or yung pag-contract. So, pag na-impair yun, it can lead to severe hypotension and ultimately cardiac arrest. Okay? So, CNS depression, mga nagkakos niyan, yung slow, sedatives, ano pa? So, it can lead to loss of airway, opioids, weak breathing, what else? Halt, hypotension, arrhythmia, lethal agents, such as your ephedrine, amphetamine digitalis. Toxic sila sa heart. Okay? Cellular hypoxia, pwede rin mechanism ng death to, no? Cellular hypoxia may occur despite adequate ventilation oxygenation. When poisoning is due to cyanide, remember your complex 4 of electron transport chain, and yun naapektuhan nila. Hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, and other poisons that interfere with transport or utilization of oxygen. So yung mga patients na yan, pwedeng hindi sila cyanotic. However, cellular hypoxia is evident by the development of tachycardia, hypotension, severe lactic acidosis, and signs of ischemia on the ECG. So, yung hemoglobin mo, yung RBC mo, andun lang yung oxygen, hindi makababa sa tissues. Okay? Pag andito na sa, sabi ng kamay, akin na yung oxygen, ayaw mag-unload. Okay? Remember your carbon monoxide poisoning? Sinishift niya ang curve, oxygen dissociation curve to the left. Oh, di ba kabet, do the right thing and let go? Pa-left. Hindi siya pa-right. Pa-left siya. So, hindi magle-let go to. Yung cells mo here, nag-hypoxia, cellular hypoxia. Gutom sa oxygen, okay? So, it can lead to anaerobic metabolism, leading to lactic acidosis and signs of ischemia. Okay, so hindi mo magamit ng oxygen. Ano pa? Can also be because of seizures or hyperactivity, leading to hypoxia and organ damage. Okay, so certain toxins can cause excessive neuronal excitation, resulting in seizures and hyperactivity. This increased metabolic demand combined with muscle contractions can lead to hypoxia, muscle breakdown or rhabdomyolysis, and multiple organ failure. Mnemonics, ang mga nagkakos ng cellular hypoxia, ito, cocoa, o sa Bisaya, cocoa. Cocoa. Cyanide, oxygen, utilization failure, carbon monoxide, organ damage, and you have your organ damage and adequate ventilation is ineffective. Nabe-ventilate, napapadala ng hangin, pero wala. Hindi nagpadala silang ng oxygen, pero hindi naman bumaba sa tissue, no? Seizures and hyperactivity. So, seizures, hyperactivity, organ failure, contractions, killing hypoxia. Some mnemonics lang. Seizure-related deaths. Okay? So, in a nutshell, seizures, often drug-induced, and hyperthermia can lead to death via hypoxia, brain damage, and organ failure. Okay? Remember your seizures? That's your excessive neuronal excitation from drugs. It causes hypoxia and brain injury. Hyperthermia. But may hyperthermia. It's from muscle breakdown from seizures, which releases myoglobin, damaging your kidneys, and metabolic acidosis or electrolyte imbalance, which can cause organ failure. Okay? Drugs causing seizures, mnemonic. Wala. Ano gawa tayo? Antidepressants. Isoniazid ng TB mo. Bupropion. Cocaine and amphetamine. Mga ABC. ABC. Yan. Pag nag-seize ka, edi contract yung muscle mo involuntarily. Pag sobrang contraction, minsan, nasisira na yung muscle tissue mo. Nandun yung myoglobin. Lalabas sa kidneys. Myoglobinuria. Ang daming myoglobin na nag-leak sa kidney but can lead to renal failure. Okay? Ano pa? Lactic acidosis kasi anaerobic. Hyperkalemia because yung potassium intracellular cation, di ba? Major intracellular cation. Pag nasira, na-immobilize yung muscle cell, lalabas na lang siya sa blood. Okay? So, hyperkalemia. Naalala mo hyper K? Peak T waves, di ba? Pag naka-peak ang hyper K, naka-peak ang TT. Naalala, sa ECG. Poisoning can cause delayed organ damage. Hindi porket kakainom mo lang and you expect na andyan agad yung effect niya. Hindi ganon, okay? For instance, acetaminophen or your paracetamol, after a few hours pa yan, magda-damage ang liver mo, no? For 2 to 3 days pa bago mag-hepatic necrosis. Paraquat, sa lungs naman ang affectation niya, it can lead to pulmonary fibrosis. Okay? What else? So, again, poisoning can cause delayed organ damage or indirect damage via drug-induced accidents. Delayed toxicity, some toxins cause progressive organ damage over time, requiring prolonged monitoring and supportive care. Kaya, hindi mo pwedeng i-discharge agad. Okay? For instance, may nag-paracetamol sa Australia and New Zealand kasi yung nila matigas. Paracetamol overdose, therefore, nabigay mo na, sustain, tapos di-discharge mo na. Hindi ganun, okay? You have to monitor first, to provide supportive care, and of course, the antidote, you have to give it. Indirect toxicity. So, intoxication can impair judgment and coordination, leading to traumatic injuries. So, ingat-ingat. What else? So, mga delayed ang effects. Yung lung fibrosis sa paraquat, acetaminophen sa liver, they are time-dependent, and effects are delayed. Okay? Next, drug groups and lethal effects. Drug overdoses cause death via respiratory failure, seizures, arrhythmias, or liver or kidney damage. So, sa respiratory issues, sino mga nagbibigay dyan? Mga sedatives mo, opioids, because they depress the CNS respiratory drive. Wala kang ganang huminga. Okay? Pag naka-sedative hypnotics ka or opioids. Sobrang kalmado mo, sedated ka, can lead to respiratory depression pag nag-overdose mo. Pati yung opioids. Alam mo yung opioids P for pinpoint pupil, yung isang clue mo. Okay? Anyway, they both depress your CNS respiratory drive. Seizure-inducing drugs include your stimulants. Ito pampakalma, ito pampahyper naman. No? So, mga tricyclics mo, stimulants and tricyclics depress or disrupt the neural balance causing seizures and hypoxia. TCA, tricyclic antidepressants. Yeah, hindi mo na prevents reuptake, di ba? Ng mga neurotransmitters. Cocaine prevents reuptake then. So, prolonged ang effect ng neurotransmitters mo. Therefore, pwede mag-seizure. Okay? Arrhythmia-causing drugs, your tricyclics and digitalis, because they alter your heart rhythm. Liver and kidney on damage, yung mga, yung paracetamol natin, and toxins. What else? Respiratory. Familiarize yourselves with the notorious agents that cause respiratory failure or respiratory arrest, seizures, etc. Okay? Sa liver and kidneys naman, HAM ang mnemonic natin dyan. HAM. Heavy metals. Your heavy metals, acetaminophen, and mushroom poisoning. Amanita phalloides. HAM. Okay? Seizures, CATs. Basically, if you know the mechanism of such drugs, mapapredict mo siya. Okay? Pwede siyang, pag too much na to, sobrang di mo, or prevent mo yung reuptake ng neurotransmitter, pwede siya mag-seize. What else? CATs. Cocaine or PCP, aspiration, tricyclic seizures. Okay, just watch this video. Maganda siya. Approach to poisoning. Okay? So, quick history and physical exam, but you have to protect yourself first. Wear proper PPE, otherwise ma-inhale mo yan. Okay? Or yung kung anumang poison ang na-expose sa patient. Okay? Then, check the physical exam and vitals of your patient. May hypothermia or hyperthermia ba? Tachycardia, tachypnea, brady ba siya, bradypneic, or apneic? Blood pressure, kumusta? Mataas ba o mababa? Size of pupils, very important kasi may mga pinpoint, di ba, sa anticholinergic toxidrome and opioid poisoning. Skin, kung sobrang init ba or nagpapawis ba yan? Because sweating is present and it can be also absent in other toxidromes. No? And level of consciousness. Important yan kasi may mga nag-overdose ng benzos, no, depressed ang level of consciousness nila compared sa mga nag-overdose ng sympathomimetics. Okay? Then, diagnostic tests. Then you treat. Taking consideration of your ABC, airway, breathing, and circulation. Doctor's ABCD din tinuro natin, ha? Doctor's ABCD. Blood sugar for anyone na mababa ang mental status or depressed ang mental status nila. Check mo, baka hypoglycemia lang. Give the antidote, for instance, opioid, di ba, naloxone, etc., etc. Minsan nag-insulin overdose, so you give D50-50 glucose, etc. Then decontaminate. Yung mga hyperbaric oxygen, carbon monoxide poisoning, etc. Hindi lahat ginagastric lavage. Okay, may indications yan and time. Kasi minsan, wala na siya sa gastrointestinal tract. Ano pang ilalavage mo? Kung 10 hours or more na. Wala na na-absorb na yon sa system, sa blood. Okay? Then, if hindi mo alam kung anong antidote, supportive treatment tayo. Okay? Okay. Initial management of a patient with coma, seizures, or otherwise altered mental status should follow the same approach regardless of the poison involved. Okay, so yung ABCD. Doctor's ABCD. So, supportive measures are the basics of poisoning treatment. So, airway, daanan ng air. It should be clear the vomitus or any other obstruction, and an oral airway or endotracheal tube, it's inserted if needed. Okay? So, you have to protect your airway. Pag depressed yung CNS niyan, hindi niya mapoprotect yung airway niya, you can intubate GCS 8 and below. GCS 8, intubate. For many patients, simple positioning in the lateral or left side down position or implementation of a jaw thrust maneuver is sufficient to move the flaccid tongue out of the airway. What else? So, tingnan mo. Baka may bibig, may suka, or whatever. You have to clear it. Then, check for breathing. Ensure adequate ventilation. Breathing should be assessed by observation, pulse oximetry, and end-tidal carbon dioxide monitoring. And if in doubt, measure your ABG, arterial blood gases. Patients with respiratory insufficiency should be intubated and mechanically ventilated. Tandaan, ha? Circulation should be assessed by continuous monitoring of your pulse rate, blood pressure, urinary output, and evaluation of peripheral perfusion. Tingnan mo yung circulatory system niya, ha? Kung may dugo pang dumadaloy, mababa ba yung pressure, blood pressure, etc. IV line should be placed and blood drawn for serum glucose and other routine determinations. Yung iba, pag nagsi-seizure, choose a drug na madaling ma-administer, no? Kasi kapag yung iba, nagwawala, mahirap naman mag-IV line dun. Okay? Kung kailangan mo na isaksak yung antidote, choose a drug na intramuscular ang route. Okay? Para mapakalma siya. Okay. So at this point, every patient with altered mental status should receive a challenge with concentrated dextrose unless a rapid bedside glucose test demonstrates that the patient is not hypoglycemic. Adults are given 25 grams or 50 ml of 50% dextrose solution intravenously. Pag bata, mas mababa, okay? 0.5 gram per kilo ng 2 ml or 2 ml per kilo of 25% dextrose solution. Hypoglycemic patients may appear to be intoxicated, and there's no rapid and reliable way to distinguish them from poisoned patients. Alcoholic or malnourished patients should also receive 100 milligrams of thiamine intramuscularly or in the IV infusion solution at this time to prevent Wernicke syndrome. Bakit, Doc, mag B1 muna before glucose kung hypogly? Tapos alcoholic. Because, alam mo to si glycolysis. Goodness gracious, Father Franklin did go by picking pumpkin to tubig to prepare pies. Okay, so to do this, pyruvate to acetyl-CoA, the enzyme here is pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex and PDC, they all require the same set of coenzymes, yung katulong, okay? The lovely coenzyme for nerds. Thiamine is your B1. Yan usually ang nawawala pag alcoholic. Chronic alcoholic. Tapos ang lakas pa mag-binge drink. Anyway, so wala kang B1, it will stop. So if you give glucose first, 1 million glucose pieces. Kunyari lang, o yung 1 million glucose na yon, saan pupunta? O, magiging lactate na lang kasi hindi naman siya makakadiretso here because you lack a coenzyme. So, magla-lactic acidosis ka dun. Yari, maging acidotic yung blood mo. So, you have to give your thiamine first before your glucose because you have to wake up the sleepyhead, the enzyme here. You have to wake it up first. Okay, pag gumana na siya, pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is now already active as well as this one. You can give glucose para make sure mo, yung glucose na yan, dire-diretso. Maging acetyl-CoA, mag-perform sa Krebs, etc. So, it will prevent the formation of your lactic acid. Okay? So, B1 first, then the 50-50 glucose. Next, reverse opioid overdose with naloxone. Tandaan na, lalabas sa exam. Ang opioid overdose, ang antidote is naloxone. Tandaan. Pag hindi nyo ma-memorize, sulat mo sa papel. Naloxone opioid overdose. Ayun na, may OO. Para mawala. Ang opioid overdose, naloxone. Okay? Pag benzos naman ang in-overdose niya, flumazenil. Tandaan, BF, boyfriend. Benzo, flumazenil. Nag-overdose sa benzodiazepine yung patient, bigyan mo ng flumazenil. But cautiously. Okay? Naloxone is an opioid antagonist. It displaces opioids from receptors, reversing respiratory depression. Kuha mo yun. If this is your receptor, the upuan. Drawing tayo ng upuan, ha? This is your opioid receptor. Okay, mga mu. So, nakaupo dyan si opioids. If you're gonna give the antidote, which is naloxone, uupo din dyan si naloxone. So, mapapatalsik to. Okay? Yan. Competitive inhibitor kasi. Okay? Alis ka na dyan, opioid. Ako na yung uupo sa trono mo. Sa upuan mo, sa receptor mo. So, yun. So, you can reverse the respiratory depression here. Flumazenil is a benzodiazepine antagonist. Ganun din. Displaces benzos but risks seizures in chronic users or certain overdose. Okay. What else? Kasi may mga withdrawal syndrome, di ba? Ano pa? Naloxone for narcotic overdose, opioid reversal, pulmonary rescue, emergency use yan. Tandaan mo ang naloxone. Lalabas ko sa exam. Pag mali ka doon, minus 100 points. Charot. Flumazenil, may seizure risk siya. Kasi diba, nakabenzo siya for a long period of time, that bigla mong in-stop. So, medyo may risk ka dyan ng withdrawal symptoms. So, what else? Antagonist siya ng benzo, flumazenil, tandaan. What else? Ang benzo, antagonist flumazenil, binibigay for suspected benzo overdose, but it should not be used if there is a history of chronic benzodiazepine use, TCA, or tricyclic antidepressant overdose, or a seizure disorder, as it can unmask convulsions in such patients. Okay? No reason dun. And take note, GABA sits here between your alpha and beta receptor. Ito yung natural ligand, di ba? Ang benzo mo, dito, between alpha and gamma. Ang flumazenil mo, dun din, alpha and gamma. So, pwede niyang patalsikin here. Zolpidem for insomnia, etc. Dun din, okay? What else? Barbiturate, iba. Sa iba siya uupo. So, opioid antagonist naloxone may be given in a dose of 0.4 to 2 milligrams intravenously. Naloxone reverses respiratory and CNS depression due to all varieties of opioid drugs. It is useful to remember that these drugs cause death primarily by respiratory depression. So, airway and breathing assistance have been instituted muna. Okay, pag nabigay mo na yan, at some instance or at some point, naloxone may not be necessary. Okay, but to be sure, you have to give it again. Larger doses of naloxone may be needed for patients with overdose involving fentanyl, codeine, and some other opioids. Okay. Benzo antagonist flumazenil may be of value in patients with suspected benzo overdose. Ay, nulit lang. Cardiac rhythm, you have to check, diba, yung sa circulatory status niya. Cardiac rhythm, i-VFib ba natin? I-defibrillate ba natin? Dalawa lang na yung i-defibrillate mo. Pulseless VTAC and VFib. VTAC tombstone, malalaki yan. VFib, quiver. Pulseless VTAC and VFib, defib. Okay? Hindi lahat sinashock ha. Asystole, hindi. Blood pressure, you have to check this one kung hypotensive ba or hypertensive. Okay? Comatose patient, pag depressed ang mental status, give glucose and thiamine. Okay? Okay, so you have to identify the poisons, of course. Many intoxicants can cause a characteristic syndrome of clinical and laboratory changes. The table on the next slide will show you some toxidromes associated with major drug groups and key interventions called for. The toxic features of selected individual agents are listed. So next slide. When a toxic agent cannot be directly examined and identified, the clinician must rely on indirect means to identify the type of intoxication and the progress of therapy. In addition to the history in PE, certain lab examinations may be useful. A few intoxicants can be directly identified in the blood or urine, especially when information in the history narrows the search. In a more common situation of a comatose patient unable to provide a history, general tests for replacement of anions or osmotic equivalents in the blood, an ion gap or smaller gap, may be useful. A few intoxicants can be identified or strongly suspected on the basis of ECG or radiologic findings. Wala lang. Kailangan mo yung history, PE, clinical eye, na dapat matalas, no? And laboratories. Okay? Yun yung point ng slide na to, napakahaba. Binasa natin. Okay. So take a look at this one, acetaminophen or your paracetamol. Ganito ang presentation. Anorexia, nasusuka, sumuka, jaundice. So isipin mo, liver tinamaan. Can also give you renal failure. Okay? Botox, di ba? Sa neuromuscular junction yan. Prevents the release of your acetylcholine. So hindi magka-contract yung skeletal muscle mo. It can lead to the following, no? For mga muscle weakness. Carbon monoxide, di ba? Electron transfer chain. Complex number 4 ang inapektuhan. So, hindi makakatalon ang electron to oxygen. The final electron acceptor. So, yari ang cellular metabolism mo. Okay? Wala kang aerobic glycolysis. So, may lactic acidosis ka. The end product of your anaerobic glycolysis. Cyanide, you have your bitter almond odor, seizures, coma, and abnormal ECG. Ethylene glycol, yung antifreeze mo. You have your crystals in urine, increase an ion gap, so hagma yan. Okay? Colorless to. And walang taste. So, delikado sa mga bata. Bigla-bigla umiinom ng something sa garage ng tatay nila. Iron, you have the following here. Radiopaque material in the gut, seen in x-ray, high WBC and hypergly. Lead poisoning sa mga batang makain ng mumurahing laruan or yung mga sa lipstick ng mami nila. Chippy pie, may mga lead yung mga yon. So, ingat-ingat. Okay? Lead can inhibit a lot of enzymes. Ala dehydratase mo, furochelatase ng heme synthesis. LSD, so you have your hallucinations, dilated pupils, and hypertension. High na high siya. No? Mercury, sa mga taba ng isda. Ang iba, mataas yung mercury content nila. Okay? What else? Nephrotic syndrome, yan. Methanol sa mga lambanog, take note, rapid respiration, visual symptoms, osmolar gap, severe metabolic acidosis, hagma. Mushroom, Amanita phalloides. You have here severe nausea and vomiting 8 hours after ingestion and delayed liver and kidney failure. Okay? PCP, coma with eyes open, horizontal and vertical nystagmus. PCP, pataas, pababa, pataas, pababa. Pakaliwa, pakanan, nag-nystagmus yung mata niya. Okay? Once the essential initial ABCD interventions have been instituted, one can begin a more detailed evaluation to make a specific diagnosis. This includes gathering any available history and performing a toxicologically oriented physical exam. Okay? Huwag naman yung orderin mo lahat ng lab test, no? Dapat may differentials ka man lang din. Yeah. Select mga laboratory tests that can likely confirm or rule out others. Other causes of coma or seizures, such as head trauma, meningitis, or metabolic abnormalities, should be sought and treated. Okay. Oral statements about the amount and even the type of drug ingested in toxic emergencies may be unreliable. Even so, family members, police or fire department, or paramedics should be asked to describe the environment in which a toxic emergency occurred and should bring to the emergency department any syringes, empty bottles, household products, or over-the-counter medications in the immediate vicinity of the possibly poisoned patient. O kunyari, Dok, nasa bahay lang siya, tapos may fire doon or whatever. Tas close lahat, walang exhaust. You can suspect carbon monoxide, cyanide or carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay. Ano pa? Cyanide, medyo mabilis yun. A brief examination should be performed. Mabilis dapat ha. Emphasizing those areas that most likely can give clues to the toxicological diagnosis. This includes your vitals, eyes, mouth, skin, abdomen, and nervous system. Okay. So, vital signs, careful evaluation of vital signs, your BP, pulse, respiration, and temperature are essential in all toxicologic emergencies. Hypertension and tachycardia are typical with amphetamines, cocaines, and anti-muscarinic or mga anticholinergic natin. Okay? Hyper sila. Hypotension and bradycardia are characteristic features of overdose with calcium channel blockers, beta blockers, clonidine or catapres ni lola mo, and sedative hypnotics. Yung mga yun, pampababa ng BP So, hypotensive sila. Okay? Calcium channel blocker, pag nag-act sa heart, ano mangyayari? Bradycardia. Beta blocker, pag blinak ang beta 1, bradycardic ka rin. Hypotension with tachycardia. Ito naman, mababa BP pero mabilis yung heart rate is common with TCAs, trazodone, quetiapine, vasodilators, and beta agonists. Beta agonist mo yung mga salbutamol. Yan. Beta 2 agonist. Rapid respirations, nagtatakip niya, are typical of salicylates, carbon monoxide, and other toxins that produce metabolic acidosis or cellular asphyxia. So, itong mga to, magkakos ng extra acid, salicylate. So, magkakos ng metabolic acidosis, magkakompensate si lungs by trying to blow off some acid stuff. And yung acid stuff na yun is carbon dioxide. So, you have, RR na increased. Hypothermia can be caused by any CNS depressants, such as yung mga benzos natin, etc. And especially when accompanied by exposure to a cold environment. So take note of your pupils, your skin, etc. Mouth may show signs of burns due to corrosive substances or soot from smoke inhalation. Typical odors of alcohol, hydrocarbon solvents, or ammonia may be noted. Poisoning due to cyanide can be recognized by some examiners as an odor like bitter almonds. Then again, you have to protect yourself ha. Huwag mong titikman kung ano man yun. May powder sa bibig, etc. Skin often appears flushed, hot, and dry in poisoning with atropine and other antimuscarinics. Sa part 1, na-explain na natin yan bakit. Diba? Anticholinergic, binablock ang acetylcholine. Acetylcholine ang neurotransmitter ng sweat gland. Di wala kang sweating. So, wala kang means to dissipate your excess body heat. Anong meron ka lang? Ang heat. Joke. Excessive sweating occurs with organophosphate, nicotine, and sympathomimetic drugs. Naman, cyanosis may be caused by hypoxemia or methemoglobinemia. Icterus may suggest hepatic necrosis due to acetaminophen or Amanita phalloides mushroom poisoning. Abdomen may reveal ill use, which is typical of poisoning with antimuscarinic, opioid, and sedative drugs. Antimuscarinic. Pag blinak mo ang M3, di ba, ang parasympathetic ay pang rest and digest, blinak mo nga yung upuan doon, yung muscarinic receptor. Hindi ka makaka-rest and digest. Sobrang wala nang ginagawa yung intestine mo, so nag-ill-use na. Hyperactive bowel sounds, abdominal cramping, and diarrhea are common in poisoning with organophosphates, iron, arsenic, theophylline, phloides, and muscaria. Okay, organophosphates poisoning, di ba? Acetylcholinesterase inhibitor sila, so ang haba ng buhay ng acetylcholine mo. Acetylcholine, parasympathetic yan, mostly, di ba? And then, sobrang na-stimulate naman ang rest and digest. So, nagpupo ka na, diarrhea, etc. Okay, so nervous system, careful neurologic examination is essential. Focal seizures or motor deficits suggest a structural lesion, for instance, intracranial hemorrhage due to trauma rather than toxic or metabolic encephalopathy. Nystagmus, dysarthria, and ataxia are typical of phenytoin, carbamazepine, alcohol, and other sedative intoxication. Twitching and muscular hyperactivity are common with atropine and other anticholinergic agents, and cocaine and other sympathomimetic drugs. Dami, no? Muscular rigidity can be caused by haloperidol and other antipsychotic agents, and by strychnine or by tetanus. So, daming choices. Haloperidol, that's your first generation, di ba? Or typical antipsychotic. Prone nga lang sa neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Anyway. Generalized hypertonicity of muscles and lower extremity clonus are typical of serotonin syndrome. Seizures are often caused by overdose with antidepressants, especially your TCA and bupropion, cocaine, amphetamines, theophylline, isoniazid, and difen. Difen mo yung sa... This is the first generation antihistamine. Brand name niya usually Benadryl. Flaccid coma with absent reflexes and even an isoelectric EEG may be seen with deep coma due to sedative, hypnotic, or other CNS depressant, intoxication, and may be mistaken for brain death. Okay? So, toxics to remember. You have to check your temperature, odor, your eyes, increased bowel sounds or ileus, circulation, and skin or seizures. So, tingnan mo lang yung pasyente, no? From head to toe. Head to toe para wala kang ma-miss. Kumusta yung pupils niya, yung pawis niya, bibig niya, or ilong, kung may something dyan, yung debris ba. What else? GI, kumusta? Lungs, heart, circulatory system. Okay? Okay. So, lab tests or blood gases show hypoventilation sa opioid or ethanol poisoning. Pwede rin metabolic acidosis. However, doon naman yan sa hypoxia or cyanide poisoning. Diba? Kasi magla-lactic acidosis sila kung walang oxygen. Carbon monoxide poisoning needs special testing. Hypoventilation. CNS depressants reduce your respiratory drive, causing CO2 retention and low oxygen. Metabolic acidosis, ba't nagkaganon? Because of tissue hypoxia or toxins, which can lead to acid buildup, altering your blood pH. Carbon monoxide poisoning, because carbon monoxide binds to your RBC, hemoglobin, falsely elevating your pulse oximetry readings. Okay? Hypoventilation, ang mnemonic mo dyan ay dope, depressants, your opioids, ethanol, oxygen is low, CO2 is high, effects on breathing. Ayan, boring ng mga mnemonics. Dyan, for that part. You have to check your electrolytes, your sodium, potassium, chloride, and bicarb. And yung anion gap mo, which can be computed using this one. Nice to know for your level. The anion gap is the difference between the sum of the measured serum concentrations of the two primary cations, sodium and potassium, and the sum of the measured serum concentrations of the two primary anions, or chloride and bicarb. Normally, it's around 12 to 16 mEq per liter. Pero minsan mataas yan sa DKA, etc. Ayan. Renal function test, you have to check then because some toxins have direct nephrotoxic effects. In other cases, renal failure is due to shock or myoglobinuria. BUN and CREA levels should be measured and urinalysis performed. Check mo rin yung CPK, elevated serum, creatine phosphate kinase, okay, or CK. And myoglobin in the urine, which can suggest muscle necrosis due to seizures or muscular rigidity. Naalala mo yung enzymes, diba? Ang creatine kinase, dapat nasa muscle lang. Pag nag-leak yan sa blood, nakita mo mataas ang CK sa blood, CKMM sa blood, ibig sabihin, nasira na yung muscle. Ano pa? Myoglobin, nag-leak na rin. Lumabas na sa ihi. Di may rhabdomyolysis ka, etc. What else? Bakit nasira yung muscle? Kasi baka nag-seizure siya or because of too much muscular rigidity. Oxalate crystals in large numbers in the urine suggest ethylene glycol poisoning. Tandaan. Oxalate crystals. Pag nakita mo yan, think ethylene glycol ang ininom. Okay? Consider that. You have to check your serum osmolality as well. That's how you compute your serum osmolality. Ethanol and other alcohols may contribute significantly to the measured serum osmolality. However, they are not included in the calculation and can cause an osmol gap. Okay. Ano ba yung substances that are often associated with an abnormal osmol gap? Your acetone, ethanol, ethylene glycol, isopropyl alcohol, methanol, and propylene glycol. Nice to know. You have to check your ECG as well. Okay. Widening of QRS complex, like more than 100 milliseconds. Anong isipin natin? Nag-overdose siya with tricyclic antidepressants and other drugs that block the sodium channel. QT. Nalaman si QT? Okay. It is prolonged in many poisonings, which include antidepressants and antipsychotics, methadone, lithium, and arsenic. Lithium, mood stabilizer. Okay. Iniwasan yan sa buntis daw. Kailangan mo ng mood stabilizer kapag may mga mania, ganyan, manic, skits, yan, schizophrenia. AV block and a variety of atrial and ventricular arrhythmias are common with poisonings by digoxin and other cardiac glycosides. Know the mechanism of your digoxin. Okay? Sodium-potassium ATPase inhibitor ba yan? Sodium-calcium exchanger inhibitor. Then you have your hypoxemia due to carbon monoxide poisoning, which may result in ischemic changes on ECG. Okay. Supraventricular tachycardia, SVT. Anong bibigay mo? Wala pa pala kayo sa IM. SVT adenosine. Next. Plain film of abdomen may be useful because some tablets, particularly iron and potassium, may be radio-opaque. Chest radiographs may reveal aspiration pneumonia and hydrocarbon pneumonia or pulmonary edema. When head trauma is suspected, a CT scan is recommended. Kunyari, may ininom siya, nawalan siya malay, tapos nabagok ang ulo. So, you have to do your cranial CT scan. Plain, ha? Plain. Next. It is a common misconception that a toxicology screen is the best way to diagnose and manage an acute poisoning. However, rapid urine drugs of abuse screens are limited to a few classes of drugs and are subject to many false positive and false negative results. More reliable comprehensive toxicology screening is available but is time-consuming. Baka patay na yung pasyente, wala pang resulta. Pag ang dami mong in-order. And expensive. And results of tests may not be available for days. Moreover, many highly toxic drugs such as your calcium channel blockers, beta blockers, Silola, and isoniazid are not included in the screening process. Okay. The clinical examination of the patient and selected routine lab tests are usually sufficient to generate tentative diagnosis and an appropriate treatment plan. Although screening tests, or so-called drugs of abuse panels, may be helpful in confirming a suspected intoxication, they should not delay needed treatment. Furthermore, they may be indicative of exposure but do not provide info regarding the time of exposure or the quantity of drug present in the patient's body. So, manghuhula ka. So, talasan mo na yung clinical eye mo ngayon pa lang. Okay? Comprehensive screening may be necessary in cases of suspected brain death to rule out drugs as a cause of coma, child abuse, or as part of a post-mortem examination. Doon ka lang o-order ng sobrang comprehensive na screening test. Okay? Pag brain death na si patient, tapos gusto malaman ng family kung anong pinamatay niya. Okay. Rule out, may mga drugs. Pag may child abuse patient, o yan, yun sa post-mortem. When a specific antidote or other treatment is under consideration, quantitative laboratory testing may be indicated. For example, determination of the acetaminophen level is useful in assessing the need for antidotal therapy with N-acetylcysteine. Serum levels of salicylate or aspirin, ethylene glycol, methanol, theophylline, carbamazepine, lithium, valproic acid, and other drugs and poisons may indicate the need for hemodialysis. Okay? Indications yan. Kunyari, ang lithium mo, more than 4 na. O, sobra-sobra na yan doon, your toxic, or your target, therapeutic dose. You have to dialyze the patient, no? Tandaan to, familiarize, ano yung mga matatanggal with hemodialysis. Itong mga to. Mabilis kasi silang napupunta sa blood. Okay? Nag-distribute sa blood, so high volume distribution versus low volume distribution. It's a question, it's not a statement. Alamin nyo kung high or low ang volume of distribution nito. Then, balikan nyo yung first video. Sino ang bagay i-hemodialyze? A or B? And i-rationalize mo. Doc, baka B. Kasi low volume distribution, ayaw mag-distribute sa tissue, nasa blood lang siya, so madali matanggal. Or Doc A kasi, kayong bahala. Okay? Ito, ineffective ang hemodialysis kasi Doc, mabilis siyang tumawid from the blood to the tissue. Okay, rationalize nyo. Toxicology screens. Identify poisons or drugs treatable with hemodialysis. Yan. Ito yung mga may silbi. Kasi pag na-identify mo, salicylate poisoning. Acetaminophen poisoning. Di malalaman mo agad. Dialyze ba natin? Hindi. Or hindi. Okay? Kung salicylate, nag-overdose siya sa aspirin, pwede mo siyang i-dialyze. Hemodialysis will remove certain toxins from the bloodstream, preventing further organ damage. Hemodialysis is effective for substances with specific properties. Low protein binding and small volume of distribution. Nasagot ko na. Pag mababa ang volume distribution, ayaw niya mag-distribute, so nasa blood lang siya. Ayaw niya mag-distribute sa tissues. Kung nasa blood lang siya, saan ba pupunta lahat ng blood natin? Papalinis sila sa kidney. Therefore, mas okay sa kanila i-hemodialyze. Okay? AIMS TV. Acetaminophen, methanol, ethylene glycol, salicylate, theophylline, valproic acid. Yan yung mga hemodialysis candidates. Tandaan. Okay. Decontamination removes toxins from your skin or GI tract. PPE, personal protective equipment, hindi pipi mo, hindi pepe or whatever. PPE protects staff. It's done alongside other treatments. You have to protect yourself first. Tandaan, kaysa naman mahawaan ka ng poison, ma-inhale mo rin kung ano man yung toxin na yun. Paano mo magagamot si patient kung deranged yung mental status mo? Sinahawa ka, whatever. Not all drugs are, solid or tablet. Yung iba, fumes or volatile gas. Yan. So, decontamination limits toxin absorption, reducing your systemic effects. PPE will prevent your secondary exposure, ensuring your safety. So, paano mag-decontaminate? Wash or wipe. Yung mnemonic mo is wipe. Wash skin, irrigate, GI, prevent absorption, eliminate toxin. Okay. What else? Or hindi lahat, hindi nilalavad siya. Okay. Decontamination procedures should be undertaken simultaneously with initial stabilization, diagnostic assessment, and lab evaluation. Decontamination involves removing toxins from the skin or GI tract, as I've said a while ago. The provider should always wear PPE when performing patient decontamination to avoid inadvertent secondary exposure to potential toxins. So, ang tinatanggal mo sa decontamination, yung mga hindi pa na-absorb ng poison. Yung mga nakapatong pa sa balat mo or sa lining ng intestine mo. Agapan mo. Okay? In the case of topical exposures, mga insecticides or solvents, the clothing should be removed and the patient washed to remove any chemicals still present on the skin. Medical personnel must be careful not to contaminate themselves during this procedure. For most cases of ingested toxins, activated charcoal given orally or by stomach tube is very effective in adsorbing any toxin remaining in the gut. Adsorb, okay? Yun yung mechanism ng charcoal, activated charcoal. Poisons that can be removed by multiple treatments with activated charcoal include amitriptyline, barbiturates, carbamazepine, digitalis, PCP, theophylline, TCA, propoxyphene, valproic acid. Charcoal does not bind iron, lithium, or potassium, and it binds alcohol and cyanide poorly. So, ang charcoal, walang kwenta doon. Okay? Gastric lavage with a large bore tube is used to remove non-corrosive drugs from the stomach of an awake patient or from a comatose patient whose airway has been protected with a cuffed ET tube. In the past, decontamination was attempted by inducing vomiting, mostly by administering syrup of a substance in a conscious patient. Fluid extract of ipecac should not be used because it contains cardiotoxic alkaloids. However, that approach has fallen out of favor because the risks involved, particularly of aspiration, have been shown to outweigh the benefits. Whole bowel irrigation with a balanced PEG solution can enhance gut decontamination of iron tablets, enteric-coated pills, and illicit drug-filled packets. Cathartics such as sorbitol can decrease or lower absorption and hasten removal of toxins from the GI tract. Pero hindi laging ginagawa, okay? Kasi baka mag-aspirate. Ito yung sinabi natin kanina. Contaminated clothing should be completely removed and double bagged to prevent illness in healthcare providers and for possible lab analysis. Doblehin ang balot. Wash contaminated skin with soap and water. For GIT naman, medyo controversial with regards to GI decontamination, especially when treatment is initiated for more than an hour na. After 1 hour kasi, tingin mo nasa lumen ng isaw mo pa yan o na-absorb na ng intestine mo papunta sa basolateral. Na-absorb na yung iba. Okay? So for most ingestion, clinical toxicologists recommend simple administration of activated charcoal to bind ingested poisons in the gut before they can be absorbed. Okay? In an unusual circumstance, gastric lavage or bowel irrigation may also be used. Inducing emesis is ineffective, potentially harmful, and no longer recommended. Huwag mong piliting sumuka yung kapatid mo na may ininom na something. Kasi mamaya corrosive yan. Pag pinasuka mo siya, edi twice na expose yung esophagus niya, di ba? Eh kung corrosive yan, sunog na to. Sunog yung esophagus niya. Gastric lavage, if the patient is awake or if the airway is protected by an ET tube, pag barado na, sarado na yung sa trachea mo, okay? Sige, pwede ka mag-gastric lavage if indicated, okay? So, you use an orogastric or NGT as large a tube as possible. Lavage solution, usually your plain NSS, should be at body temperature to prevent hypothermia. Binaha niya, no? Kasi diba, the solution to pollution is dilution. So, dinadilute niya lang dito. Pero pag walang malay yung pasyente, wag mong gagawin. Okay? Kasi mamaya mag-aspirate yan. Activated charcoal. Owing to its large surface area, activated charcoal can adsorb, didikit sa kanya, many drugs and poisons. It is most effective if given in a ratio of at least 10:1 of charcoal to estimated dose of toxin by weight. Charcoal does not bind iron, lithium, or potassium, and it binds alcohols and cyanide poorly, tandaan. Ulit-ulit. Tapos wala rin siyang kwenta sa mga corrosive mineral acids and alkali ingestion. Repeated doses of oral activated charcoal may enhance systemic elimination of some drugs, including your carbamazepine, dapsone, and phenobarbital, by a mechanism referred to as gut dialysis. But the clinical benefit is unproved. Kita magising yung patient, gumagawa sila ng gastric lavage. If less than an hour na exposed, and alam na alam niya na hindi corrosive yung substance, etc. Okay. Dati, pinipilit nilang sumuka eh. Ngayon, hindi. Hindi na siya... Yung risk, mas mataas kasi sa potential benefit ng inducing emesis. Whole bowel irrigation, sabi na natin to, with PEG, polyethylene glycol electrolyte solution. Pampabilis ng gut decontamination ng iron tablets, enteric-coated pills, and illicit drug-filled packets. Minsan, di ba, sa NAIA, ang daming dadala doon ng... Or may mga nagpupuslit ng drugs. Ni-ingest nila. You have to remove it. At some point, they can perform whole bowel irrigation. If indicated, safe, and pasok sa time. Golden period. Cathartics, or yung laxative natin, para bumilis mapupo. Kung naman toxin na nandyan sa GI tract mo, para imbis na ma-absorb sa bloodstream, kasi dito yung basolateral, di ba? Ma-absorb sa bloodstream, wag na, i-push na lang natin papupo. So it can hasten removal of toxins from the GI tract and reduce absorption, although no controlled studies have been done. Whole bowel irrigation with a balanced PEG solution na naman can enhance gut decontamination after ingestion of iron tablets. Enteric-coated medicine, illicit drug-filled packets, and foreign bodies. Ano pinapainom dyan, Doc, or na-administer orally? 1 to 2 liters per hour for several hours until the rectal effluent is clear. PEG nga, polyethylene glycol. Okay. Specific antidotes exist for some poisons but not all. Okay? Chelation treats metal poisoning. Chelation, parang ina-attract mo yung metal, sa akin ka na kumapit. Or mag-form na tayo ng complex. Antidotes, reverse toxin effects by binding to the toxin or its receptor, binablock yung upuan. Chelation forms stable complexes with metals, facilitating their elimination. Okay? Pero hindi lahat may antidote. Itong mga todo kailangan i-memorize. Yung mga sikat. Warfarin, vitamin K. Benzo, flumazenil. What else? Tylenol or paracetamol, N-acetylcysteine, opiates. You can give Narcan, brand name. This is your naloxone. Digoxin, Digibind. Cyanide, marami yan. Methylene blue is one. Insulin, it's D50-50 glucose. You can also give glucagon. Anticholinergic fixes physostigmine. Okay. What else? So after appropriate diagnostic and decontamination procedures and administration of antidotes, it is important to consider whether measures for enhancing elimination, such as hemodialysis or urinary alkalinization, can improve the clinical outcome. Okay. Mamadali ka, di-dialyze mo. Hemodialyze. For some toxins, yan eh. You can also manipulate your urine pH to accelerate your renal excretion of weak acid and bases. Alkaline diuresis is effective for toxicity caused by fluoride, isoniazid, fluoroquinolones, phenobarbital, and salicylates. Urinary acidification, i-acidify mo yung ihi mo. Saan ginagamit yan? Kapag yung poison na in-ingest mo, base, weak base, such as amphetamine, nicotine, phencyclidine. Okay, but care must be taken to prevent acidosis and renal failure in rhabdomyolysis. Hemodialysis, an extracorporeal circulation procedure in which a patient's blood is pumped through a column containing a semi-permeable membrane that allows the removal of many toxic compounds and is used for removing ethylene glycol, lithium, metformin, etc. So these are just their two types of your dialysis, peritoneal and hemodialysis. Okay? Nice to know na yan for level. Ito important. Pag nag-ingest ka ng something na acidic, you alkalinize. Base ang kailangan mo dyan para lumabas yung acidic stuff. Pag nag-ingest ka ng something na basic, tulad ng mga to, you acidify. Acid ang kailangan mo para lumabas yung basic stuff. Okay? Important yan. So, previously popular but of unproven value, forced diuresis may cause volume overload and electrolyte abnormalities and is not recommended. Renal elimination of few toxins can be enhanced by alteration of urinary pH. For example, urinary alkalinization is useful in cases of salicylate overdose. Acidification may increase the urine concentration of drugs such as PCP and amphetamines, but it's not advised because it may worsen renal complications from rhabdomyolysis, which often accompanies the intoxication. Hindi lang naman ito yung problema eh. May mga complications such as rhabdomyolysis. So, ingat-ingat sa pag-acidify. Okay. So, anong problema dito? Remember sa amino acid titration natin? If you remember lang So, you start with pH na 0, sobrang acidic. Protonated lahat. No? Protonated lahat ng pwedeng i-protonate. Then, as you increase the pH, as you increase the pH, the rule is you remove an H. You remove an H. Okay? So, habang nagiging basic, nagtatanggalan ng mga H, ng mga proton. So, kapag may in-ingest ako, for instance, isoniazid. Okay, ito yung structure niya. Pag uminom mo ng something na basic, so tataas yung pH. Alkaline eh. So, magtatanggalan yan. As you increase the pH, magtatanggal ng H. So, ito, natanggal. Kanina OH, tas walang charge. Eh, tinanggalan mo ng hydrogen, tanggal din. Magma-minus ka rin ng charge, kaya naging negative. Okay? Pag naging negative, it's charged na. Hindi na siya non-polar. Kasi may charge na nga eh. Mahihirapan na yung bumalik sa blood. So, natatrap siya dito. Pwede mo ilabas sa ihi. Yun yung alkalinization. Okay? Pag acidic ang substance na ingest, i-alkalinize mo. Okay? So, baliktad. Pag basic yung substance na in-ingest, i-acidify mo para lumabas sa ihi. Kasi kapag hindi, pwede pa rin bumalik yan. Ito si isoniazid. Lumabas doon, lumusot. Papunta sa proximal tubule. Pwede pa rin siyang bumalik. Kung inalkalinize mo yung laman ng proximal tubule, tinanggal mo na to. Naging basic so you remove an H. Ay, may charge na ako. Pwede pa ba ako bumalik dyan? Hindi. Kasi sabi ng cell membrane, polar ka masyado. Hindi ka pwedeng lumusot sa akin. Mapupunit ako. Okay? Mawawarak yung ko. Kifi niya. Joke lang. So, ganun. Tinatrap mo siya. Okay? Nagka-charge nung inalkalinize mo. Ganun din sa pag-base naman yung ininom, i-acidify mo. Common toxic syndromes. Okay. Ito yung mas important kaysa dun sa mga previous slides. Haba pa pala. Okay. Acetaminophen is one of the drugs commonly involved in suicide attempts and accidental poisonings, both as the sole agent and in combination with other drugs. Alam nyo ba anong season ang maraming suicide? Usually. Sa first world countries, In Australia, it's actually spring. Weird, no? Sa spring sila. Hulaan mo kailan yung next. Mga ibang bansa. Ang next na mataas ang suicide risk ay summer, then last ay winter. Okay? Spring daw kasi bumababa ang serotonin, etc. Anyway, so let's talk about your paracetamol. Involved in suicide attempts. Kasi mabilis makabili niyan And suicide attempts and accidental poisonings. Both as a sole agent and in combination with other drugs. Acute ingestion of more than 7 grams sa adult is totally potentially toxic. So it's considered potentially toxic. So ilang tablets yun? Kung 7 grams, so that's 7,000 divided by 7. 14 tablets. A highly toxic metabolite is produced in the liver and is initially, here the patient is asymptomatic or has mild GI upset, nausea, vomiting lang. After 24 to 36 hours, may evidence of liver injury na with elevated liver enzymes and mababa na yung prothrombin, hypoprothrombemia. Fulminant liver failure may ensue, leading to metabolic acidosis, hypoglycemia, encephalopathy, and death. Renal failure may also occur. With acute massive ingestion and very high serum levels, metabolic acidosis can occur in the absence of liver failure. Rarely, chronic acetaminophen ingestion can cause 5-oxoprolinuria due to glutathione depletion, resulting in an anion gap metabolic acidosis. The severity of poisoning is estimated from a serum acetaminophen concentration measurement. If the level is greater than 150 milligrams per liter, approximately 4 hours after ingestion, the patient is at risk for liver injury. Chronic alcoholics or patients taking drugs that enhance P450 production of toxic metabolites may be at risk with lower levels. Ang daming sinabi. Ganyan kayo mag-report. Di ba? Binabasa nyo lang. Si paracetamol. Okay? Naalala niyo sa Synobiotics lecture? Na may metabolize yan However, through conjugation. Pero, tinaghalog ng however. So, it's either pumunta ka dito kung may gluta ka pa, pero pag wala na, nagpo-form ka ng NAPQI, which is toxic sa liver. Ganun lang. Alam mo na, pag nasira yung liver, di ba, lilik yung mga enzymes niya, ALTase, hindi na siya gagawa ng mga clotting factors, kaya mababa yung prothrombin. Yan. Okay? So, ganun lang. Antidote, must know to, and acetylcysteine. Okay? Or acetylcysteine. Acetadote or Mucomyst, some brand names lang. Naalala mo si N-acetylcysteine, bakit siya yung antidote nito? Ba't di na lang gluta? because it can regenerate your gluta and may other bonus effects pa na maganda. Okay? Antioxidant, etc. So, ba't ka pipili ng gwapo lang? Piliin mo na si Nak. Gwapo na, matalino pa, mayaman, mabait. Diba? Di katulad ni Dennis Padilla, baliktad lahat. Joke lang. So, this one acts as a glutathione substitute, binding the toxic metabolite as it is produced. It is most effective when given early and should be started within 8 to 10 hours as possible, or if possible. Best results if given within the 8 to 10 hours of overdose. Follow liver function test and acetaminophen blood levels. So, hindi ka naman agad-agad. Well, yung dose na ibibigay mo nito, depende sa liver function test niya and acetaminophen level sa dugo ng patient. This antidote is given intravenously, si act as acetadote, whereas mucomis naman is oral. Liver transplantation may be required for patients with fulminant hepatic failure. So, wag kayo mag-acetaminophen overdose. Masisira unang-una si liver, tas buhay ka pa. Joke lang. So, thou shall not kill. Okay, walang nakalagay doon, thou shall not kill other people. It includes you. So, bawal mo rin patay ng sarili mo. Okay? Amphetamine, di ba? Pang-release yan ng neurotransmitter. Okay. Medyo pagod na ako. Just read that. Okay? Yung mga stimulant drugs commonly abused in the US. Yan yung mga methamphetamine mo, your crack, crystal, MDMA, ecstasy, cocaine, yung crack tawag doon, etc. etc. Caffeine na binibigay sa dietary supplements, minamarket nila as metabolic enhancers or fat burners. It's also a drug, no? Too much of anything is bad. Amphetamine. Parang naka-steroid na simpa mode. Hyperthermia, seizure, etc. Okay? Prolonged muscular hyperactivity or seizures may contribute to hyperthermia and rhabdomyolysis. Body temperature as high as 42 degrees have been recorded. 40 pa nga lang, nagsastart ng denature enzymes mo sa katawan eh. Hyperthermia can cause brain damage, hypotension, coagulopathy, and renal failure. Treatment for stimulant toxicity includes general supportive measures. There's no specific antidote. So, tingnan mo anong problema ni pasyente. Kung nag-seizure siya, edi bigyan mo ng benzos. Right? IV benzodiazepines such as lorazepam. Pag sobrang init niya, hyperthermia, severe hyperthermia, ER yan, you have to treat it rapidly. So, remove the clothing, spray with tepid water, and encourage evaporative cooling with fanning or by immersion in ice. Pag sobrang taas, 40 to 41, neuromuscular paralysis is used to abolish muscle activity quickly. Okay? Ba't pa tumaas yung temperature? Kasi contract yung muscle. Hindi, paralyze mo yung muscle with bacuronium. Kung severe, kung very high talaga body temp. Excess serotonin produced through inhibition of its reuptake or promotion of its release by some stimulants may lead to serotonin syndrome. Medical emergency din. Anticholinergics. A large number of prescription and non-prescription drugs such as yung mga, mga common OTC na yun, mga Difen, etc. May anticholinergic effects yun, kahit antihistamine siya. So, they inhibit the effects of acetylcholine at muscarinic receptors. Some drugs used for other purposes, yung antihistamine mo, may anticholinergic effects rin in addition to their potentially toxic actions. Si Difen, for simple allergy, di ba? First generation, antihistamine, sedating. It can also cause seizures. TCAs, which have anticholinergic, quinidine-like, and alpha-blocking effects, can cause severe cardiovascular toxicity. So, alam mo yung mechanism nila, pero may side, kumbaga may tawag dun? Sideline. Antihistamine to, pero binablock pati si muscarinic receptor. May anticholinergic effects din. T4, tuyo. So, may tuyo. Tuyo ka dyan, no? Dry as a bone, etc. Walang sweating. Wala si acetylcholine eh. Acetylcholine ang neurotransmitter ng sweat gland. Okay? Just remember this one. Anticholinergics. Kinalaban ang parasympathetic, tapos tinanggal pa ang sweating. Kaya ganyan itsura mo. Treatment for anticholinergic syndrome is largely supportive. Agitated patients may require sedation with benzos or an antipsychotic agent such as haloperidol or olanzapine. Ayan. Olanzapine can cause obesity. Wala lang. The specific antidote for peripheral and central anticholinergic syndrome is physostigmine. Remember, fixes atropine overdose. It has a prompt and dramatic effect and is especially useful for patients who are very agitated. Kaso intravenous yan. Given in small intravenous doses with careful monitoring because it can cause bradycardia and seizures if given too rapidly. It should not be given to a patient with serious TCA overdose because it can aggravate cardiotoxicity resulting in heart block or asystole. Suggested for delirium caused by anticholinergic agents. Yan. Okay. Adult dose is 0.5 to 1 milligram IV slowly. Physostigmine. The effects are transient and the lowest effective dose may be repeated when symptoms return. It can cause bradycardia and increased bronchial secretions, seizures. Okay, so have atropine ready to reverse the excess effects. Pag na-physostigmine ka. Do not use for TCA overdose. Catheterization of the bladder may be needed to prevent excessive distension. Okay, antidepressants. TCAs, yung mga amitriptyline mo, desipramine, doxepin, etc. can cause life-threatening drug overdose. Ingestion of more than 1 gram of TCA is considered lethal. TCAs are competitive antagonists at muscarinic cholinergic receptors. Binabara niya yung upuan ni acetylcholine. Okay? So, hindi makaupo si acetylcholine, mukha kang Simpa mode, tachycardic, dilated the pupils, tapos wala pang secretion, so dry mouth. Okay? Those are common even at moderate doses. Some tricyclics are also strong alpha blockers. It can lead to vasodilation. They also contain antihistamine properties and antagonize GABA A receptors, which may lead to seizures. Centrally mediated agitation and seizures may be followed by depression and hypotension. Most important is the fact that TCAs inhibit the cardiac sodium channel, causing slowed conduction with a wide variety of QRS interval and depressed cardiac contractility. The cardiac toxicity may result in a serious arrhythmia, resulting in ventricular conduction block and VTAC. Again, pag pulseless VTAC, defib mo. Treatment of TCA overdose includes general supportive measures, ET intubation, assisted ventilation, IV fluid if hypotensive, dopamine or norepi kung hypotensive na malala. Norepi is the initial drug of choice for TCA-induced hypotension. Naalala mo si norepi, di ba? BEAN, B-E-A-N. Norepi will stimulate alpha-1, so vasoconstriction. Pagbagsak ang BP mo, so may constrict si alpha-1. The antidote for cardiac toxicity manifested by wide QRS is sodium bicarbonate. Okay? Bolus of 50 to 100 mg will provide a rapid increase in EC sodium, extracellular sodium. It can help overcome sodium channel blockade. Although physostigmine does effectively reverse anticholinergic signs, it can aggravate depression of cardiac conduction and cause seizures and is not recommended. Dami, no? Ganun talaga. MAOI, monoamine oxidase inhibitors, phenazine, etc. are older antidepressants that are occasionally used for resistant depression. They can cause severe hypertensive reactions when interacting with food or drugs. So, ingat-ingat dyan, no? And they can interact with the SSRIs. Newer antidepressants, your fluoxetine, paroxetine, escitalopram, venlafaxine is SNRI, diba? Are mostly, so yung mga iba, fluoxetine, etc. SSRIs are generally safer than the TCAs and MAOIs, although they can cause seizures. SSRIs may interact with each other, or especially with MAOIs, to cause serotonin syndrome characterized by agitation, muscle hyperactivity, and hyperthermia. Bupropion, although not an SSRI, has caused seizures even in therapeutic doses. So, ingat sa bupropion. Some antidepressants have been associated with QT prolongation and torsade de poids arrhythmia. Okay. SSRIs, anong symptoms? Kapag nag-serotonin syndrome, you have shivering, hyperreflexia, diarrhea, severe muscle rigidity, fever, seizures, and cardiovascular instability. Treatment, stop the offending drug, supportive management, and antidote. Antipsychotics, you have here the older phenothiazine, etc. And yung mga atypical drugs mo, all of this can cause CNS depression, seizures, and hypotension. Some can cause QT prolongation. Tinitingnan ko pa kung ilang slides pa to. Sobrang haba pala. Okay, neuroleptic malignant syndrome. You have here the following symptoms: lead pipe rigidity, hyperthermia, and autonomic instability. So the potent dopamine D2 blockers are also associated with Parkinsonian movement, and in rare cases, neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Blinak mo ang upuan ni dopamine. Okay, blinak mo ang upuan ni dopamine. Ano ngayon? Di ba ang dopamine involved sa movement yan? O, di pangit movement mo. Charot. May lead pipe rigidity, etc. So, mnemonic mo dito sa neuroleptic malignant syndrome, falter. So, may fever, altered mental status, leukocytosis, tremor, elevated ang CPK, and rigidity. Okay, pwede rin fever. Fever na lang. May fever ka, encephalopathy, altered mental status ka nga dito, or confused, vital signs is unstable, yung heart rate mo, BP and sweating, yung enzymes mo mataas, creatine kinase mo kasi lumabas na from the muscle, and rigidity, severe muscle rigidity. Common to, so mas nakikita to sa mga first generation antipsychotics. Okay? Kasi mga antipsychotics will diminish positive symptom. Paano mawawala yung positive symptom? Mga hallucination, delusion. It's because of too much dopamine. Di block mo si dopamine. Kaso naman, pag nasobrahan sa blockade ng dopamine, neuroleptic malignant syndrome ka. Okay? It has a tetrad of altered mental status, fever, rigidity, autonomic instability. Okay? Treatment, discontinue yung offending agent, ASAP. And dahil may fever ka, IV fluids, cold IV fluids, antipyretics, dantrolene, para mag-relax yung muscle mo, muscle relaxant yon. Bromocriptine is a dopamine agonist. So, blinak mo si dopamine, bigyan mo ng pampago, dopamine agonist. So, antidote nito? Dopamine agonist, bromocriptine, and dantrolene, DB. Tandaan na, DB. Rare naman ito. However, life-threatening lang talaga. Yan, mag-suspect ka ng ganyan kapag nasa ER patient mo, na yung patient na yun naka-antipsychotics, na nag-aapekto ng dopamine level sa brain. Okay? Hallmark symptom, fever. Muscle rigidity, sobrang stiff. Wala kang dopamine, di maka-act, di nag-rigid yung muscle mo. May lead pipe rigidity. Mental status is altered. Pwede confused, nagdideliryo, or coma. Yung vital signs altered din, irregular heart rate, sweating, BP fluctuations. Saan ang suspect niyan? Mga suspect niyan, kapag naka first generation, antipsychotics. Kaya mas gusto mo ang SGA, second generation antipsychotics. Lesser chance na mag-neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Although possible pa rin, pero less. Okay, yun na muna for your level. Aspirin overdose, salicylate poisoning, less common yan. Pero sa mga childhood poisoning deaths yan. Pero ngayon, hinigpitan na nila yung container, so hindi masyado mabuksan ng mga bata. But it still accounts for numerous suicidal and accidental poisonings. Acute ingestion of more than 200 mg per kilo is likely to produce intoxication. Poisoning can also result from chronic overmedication. This occurs most commonly in elderly patients using aspirin or salicylate for chronic pain who become confused about their dosing. Poisoning causes uncoupling of oxidative phosphorylation and disruption of normal cellular metabolism. Naalala mo sa electron transport chain, nakakopol yan kay oxidative phosphorylation. Yung complex 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. nakakopol kay ATP synthase or complex 5. Pag nakasalicylate ka, hiwalay na sila, break na sila. Okay? The first sign of salicylate toxicity is hyperventilation and respiratory alkalosis due to medullary stimulation. Metabolic acidosis follows, and an increased or high anion gap results from accumulation of lactate as well as excretion of bicarbonate by the kidney to compensate for respiratory alkalosis. ABG testing often reveals a mixed respiratory alkalosis and metabolic acidosis. Body temperature may be elevated owing to uncoupling of oxidative phosphorylation. Kasi diba, pag dapat nakinig ka ng biochem eh. Pag in-uncouple mo to, saan napupunta yung energy? Diyan, na lang yan, dissipated by, or by converting it to heat. Kung hindi mo magiging ATP yan, edi magiging heat na lang. Next. Vomiting and hyperpnea as well as hyperthermia contribute to fluid loss and dehydration. With very severe poisoning, profound metabolic acidosis, seizures, coma, pulmonary edema, and cardiovascular collapse may occur. Absorption of salicylate and signs of toxicity may be delayed after very large overdoses or ingestion of enteric-coated tablets. Minsan di agad-agad, no? Matagal bago mag-manifest. Aspirin, acid yan, salicylic acid. So, may unknown acid siya, so high anion gap metabolic acidosis. Tapos magta-try mag-compensate si lungs by removing excess CO2. So, mag-rest ka pa. Okay. Acid, so i-alkalinize mo yung urine to promote its excretion. Pag naka-ingest more than 100 tablets, aggressive gut decontamination is advisable, including gastric lavage, repeated doses of activated charcoal, and consideration of whole bowel irrigation. IV fluids are used to replace fluid losses by tachypnea, vomiting, and fever. Sa mga yun kasi, ang dami mong fluids na nawawala. For moderate intoxications, IV sodium bicarbonate is given to alkalinize the urine and promote salicylate excretion by trapping the salicylate in its ionized polar form. For severe poisoning, patients with severe acidosis or coma and serum salicylate levels of more than 90 to 100 mg per deciliter, emergency hemodialysis is performed to remove the salicylate more quickly and restore acid-base balance in fluid status. Kunyari, ito yung acid, di ba? AHS. Kunyari lang, i-alkalinize mo, taasan mo yung pH para matanggal. As you increase the pH, tanggal ang H. May ion na yan, hindi na makakabalik yan. Okay? Ionized na eh. Polar, hindi makakabalik sa blood mo. Beta blocker overdose. This one inhibits propranolol, non-selective. It will inhibit beta 1 and beta 2. Beta 1, Bradica. Beta 2, Bagamu. Mag-bronchoconstrict. Okay? So, if any is lost at high dosage. The most toxic beta blocker is propranolol sa mga may hyperthyroidism. May inom yan. Diba? As little as 2 to 3 times the therapeutic dose can cause serious toxicity. This may be because propranolol in high doses causes sodium channel blocking effects similar to seen with TCA, and it is lipophilic, allowing it to enter CNS. These are the symptoms. Blinak mo si beta 1. Goodbye beta 1. So, Bradica. Okay? Etc. Bradycardia and hypotension are the most common manifestations of toxicity. Agents with partial agonist activity, pindolol, can cause tachycardia and hypertension. Seizures and cardiac conduction block may be seen with propranolol overdose. General supportive care should be provided as outlined kanina. The usual measures to raise blood pressure and heart rate, such as IV fluids, beta agonist drugs, and atropine, are generally ineffective. Glucagon is a useful antidote that, like beta agonists, acts on cardiac cells to raise intracellular camp, but does so independent of beta receptors. So, glucagon for beta blocker overdose, 5 to 10 mg IV bolus may reverse hypotension and bradycardia. It can improve heart rate and BP when given in high doses of 5 to 10 mg IV. Pag naka-beta blocker, so blinak malamang si beta receptor, no? Ba't ka magbibigay ng epi? Doon din uupo yan. Diba? Ba't ka bibigay ng dobutamine? Doon din uupo. Naka-block nga. Diba? Nag-beta blocker ka nga, overdose. So, give something that will sit on a different receptor, such as si glucagon. Hindi siya upo sa beta receptor. Pero, same effect. No? It will increase contraction, etc. So, kaya nga si glucagon ang antidote ng beta blocker overdose. Baby girl. Okay. Calcium channel blocker, o yung mga amlodipine ni lolo mo, yung tatay mo. Calcium antagonists can cause serious toxicity or death with relatively small overdose. These channel blockers depress your sinus node automaticity and slow AV node conduction. They also reduce your cardiac output and blood pressure. Bakit? Babalikan mo yung mechanism of action nung nag-lecture kayo dito. Okay? They also reduce cardiac output and BP, as I mentioned a while ago. Overdoses of verapamil and diltiazem are generally more dangerous, resulting in bradycardia, hypotension, and cardiogenic shock. Ano ba to? Non-dihydro or dihydropyridine? Alamin mo. Kasi yung isa, more of sa blood vessel ang action. Yung isa, more of sa heart. Okay? Blinak mo si calcium, edi walang calcium. Ano yung pahina yung contraction ng heart mo? So, brady, etc. etc. Dihydropyridines, sinabi na. So, nifedipine and amlodipine are more selective for blood vessel or vascular calcium channels, resulting in vasodilation, hypotension, and reflex tachycardia. Gets nyo yun? Kapag naka-amlodipine si tatay, okay, sa blood vessel mag-a-act yun. So, ito yung blood vessel mo, magva-vasodilate, hindi na siya high blood. Kung si heart, normally nagpapump ganyan kanina, ngayon, nag-vasodilate, uy, biglang lumuwag yung kalsada. Kung ikaw si heart, may common sense ka. Okay? Lumuwag, o bibilisan ko, para mas marami akong blood na masupply, biglang bumagsak BP eh. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng reflex tachycardia. Reflex means common sense. Lumuwag yung kalsada, anong gagawin mo heart kung may common sense ka? Reflex tachy. Okay? Kung biglang nag-constrict, anong gagawin ni heart? Uy, biglang masikip dyan ah. Dahan-dahan na lang ako magpapadala ng blood para hindi traffic. Reflex brady naman yun. Okay? So, in massive overdose, this activity may be lost and all of the listed cardiovascular effects can occur with any of the calcium channel blockers. Calcium channel blocker overdose. So, ganun ulit. Supportive treatment. Since most ingested calcium antagonists are in sustained release form, it may be possible to expel them before they are completely absorbed. Initiate whole bowel irrigation and oral activated charcoal as soon as possible before calcium antagonist-induced ill use intervenes. Calcium given IV in doses of 2 to 10 grams is a useful antidote for depressed cardiac contractility, but less effective for nodal block or peripheral vascular collapse. Okay. What else? Other treatments reported to be helpful in managing hypotension associated with CCB poisoning include high-dose insulin, plus glucose supplementation to maintain euglycemia, glucagon, and ECMOVA. Yung venoadrial extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, and methylene blue. A few case reports have suggested benefit from administration of lipid emulsion, normally used as an intravenous dietary fat supplement for severe verapamil overdose.